Hanging out at Holladay Distillery here in Western Missouri, enjoying ourselves, watching some college prospects with my buddy Jake Stack, sipping on some 5 Farms Irish cream on the rocks, watching some running backs, and there's a few in this class I'm really excited about. We'll start off the top. Breece Hall out of Iowa State. He is running back 1 in this class, in my opinion. And, I think, the tape was really good. I think some people had some questions about the athletic profile and how real it was. Mm-hmm. And he dispelled all of those concerns at the NFL Combine this year.
Yeah, and so much so that there's only a handful of guys that tested as well as he did at his weight. Mm-hmm. I believe one of those guys is Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar profile to him. Well, very similar profile, actually, when you just talk about athletic ability. Mm-hmm. But when you watch him on tape, one thing that really stands out to me is his contact balance.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that, you have to bring it to get him to the ground. Showing a little bit of ability as a receiver out of the backfield as well, which obviously is super important in today's NFL. But I think he's a guy that can play all 3 downs in the NFL. We see teams that love to, keep 2-3 guys in their rotation. And that's kind of the norm of what we see today. Breece Hall can be that guy, but he could also do really well in a running back by committee as well.
Sometimes guys that are smooth get kind of confused for unathletic, and I think that might be a little bit of the case. I think the athleticism obviously showed a little bit more than people maybe thought. With some of his tape. I mean, he's a very smooth player, mm-hmm. and I think that's something you got to give a lot of credit to.
I mean, look at him run away right now.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good long speed there. But he's got you said the contact balance, the vision, in space, but the vision between the tackles too, the willingness and the physicality to run between the tackles. He's a bell cow. He's a guy that can really be, your primary back in an offense. And I think he's shown a lot, even getting to kind of flex that physical profile a little bit too, is really valuable for him. So I think he's very obviously set himself up as RB1 in this class. And I'll be honest with you, I think you could see him go at the end of round 1. If there's one guy that's going to be able to do it, I think he's the one that can sneak into the first round. A running back that probably will be available on day 2, I'm a big fan of James Cook out of Georgia. He's a more unique player. We're talking about a true bell cow type player in Breece Hall. James Cook's a little bit different. He's a dynamic weapon and perhaps the most dynamic running back in this entire class, Jake.
Yeah, he's almost a wide receiver playing running back when you look at the way he plays the game, because he has got, he's a little bit thinner framed at 190. But you look at his ability to actually split out wide and run routes. I think he's a specialized weapon that an NFL team, if used in the right capacity, could really be happy with. Obviously, the younger brother of Vikings, Dalvin Cook. So he has those bloodlines as well, that he kind of understands what it takes to be successful in the NFL. Played in kind of a running back by committee system at Georgia. So he's already used to that, where he's going to come in and he is a home run hitter. And it's ironic that we're watching a highlight tape of him, because he is just a walking highlight. He's really what he is. And a lot of his stuff is he's going to be 1 yard gain, 80-yard touchdown. That's just kind of who he is. The kid can fly, absolute wheels. Maybe one of the more fast guys in this draft class that really is going to provide a team with a unique skill set.
Yeah, his game speed is very real, and I think he actually had a pretty good NFL Combine as well. You talk about him; he's a smooth guy as well. He's another one of those smooth running backs, and we're getting to watch a little bit of his highlights here on the ground. And you kind of talked about his ability as a pass catcher. And I think that's just truly special. You're going to see it right here. That's a beautiful Texas route, catching the ball and then accelerating through the defense. It's not surprising to see, but his route tree is a lot more developed, and he's capable of running a lot more routes than a lot of the running backs in this class. And I think that's what makes him so unique is, he's, like we said, he's not a bell cow. He's not a guy that's going to be able to, carry the rock 20 times a game, but you're going to use him. You're going to use him in a lot of different areas of the field. You're going to use him flexed out, running routes out of the backfield, and he's going to produce. Even his ability to track the ball over his shoulder. Mm-hmm. I mean, he catches passes better than some receivers in this class.
Very natural hands.
Yes.
Does not need to catch it at a certain point. He can catch it. His catch radius is pretty nice. And you see here too, there was one thing earlier where you had him kind of running that little out, realized it wasn't there, came back in. So in an offense with a quarterback that, likes to maybe make some second reaction type plays. He's a guy that doesn't give up on what he's doing on his route. He will work back to the quarterback. Really exciting prospect.
Yeah, I anticipate James Cook is probably a second or third round pick. He's probably not going in day one, but someone's going to be very happy with him in the second or third round of this draft. There is, it's weird to call an Alabama running back a sleeper, Jake.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I mean, James Robinson maybe doesn't have the same fanfare, Brian Robinson doesn't have the same fanfare as some of these other, running backs. That have come through Alabama, but he put together a very solid season, and I think he's going to have a very strong, solid career in the NFL. He's another bigger guy. We're talking about 6'1", 225, and he arrives with bad intentions to the second and third level of the defense.
Yeah, he's a hammer, and the way he ran behind that, obviously huge Alabama offensive line. He maybe, he's not the big time prospect coming out, but to be a starting running back at Alabama is nothing to stick your nose up at. And look at the way he runs the ball here. He's tough to get to the ground.
Yeah.
And you get to the second level like that, and you got guys that are having to make business decisions.
Well, the thing about Brian Robinson is, he wanted to stick around at Alabama. He wanted to get the opportunity this year that he got to kind of be the workhorse for the Crimson Tide. And, he's always been part of a kind of a timeshare, and he really got a bigger majority of the carries than he had at any point in his career. And he made the most of it. He's a big guy, has a really natural lean to his run style. So he's always falling forward. He's always getting what's there. He's always trying to create, he's trying to run through contact. His legs are always moving. He's running really hard. And that's something that's always really stuck out to me about him. There's a little bit of ability in the passing game. I don't know if he's going to be a guy that you're going to flex out and run a lot of routes. And I don't think he's going to be somebody that is going to be a dynamic piece to your passing offense. But you see the ability to run the football. He can catch basic staples out of the backfield. I think he's got a lot of promise in pass protection. Obviously, I think there's some technical work there, but he's got the physical profile, the tenacity, the physicality in his game to be able to be a quality pass protector.
And a nose for the end zone. A lot of these highlights and a lot of the clips are him getting, dives, third and goal, second and goal at the 1 yard line. He just has kind of that ability to keep churning those legs and extend and get into the end zone.
Yeah, and he's a hard runner. And he plays with great football character. Everything you see about him, the effort, the intensity, it applies. I don't know. He's probably going to have to be a guy that's going to have to play a little bit of special teams if he's going to want to continue to stick in the NFL. And the day 3 running backs typically are going to wind up having to play a little special teams. But he's got the mentality to do it. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to develop with him. And I think he's a quality football player. I see him in day 3 of this draft. Brian Robinson, a quality player out of Alabama.